So, welcome everybody. Welcome back to the Mortgage Mix podcast. I am Ralph Remy, your host, and I have some special news to just kick us off right from the first minute of our show today. And that is that we have a special announcement. We are going to bring in a co-host to the podcast moving forward. And it's actually someone that should be familiar to everybody because she was my last guest. So welcome, Miss Cheri McCarthy, to the show. Hey,
Thank
Cheri.
you. So excited to be here. This will be fun.
Yeah, so now you are literally mixing it up together,
Yes.
and we're going
All
to
right.
mix it up with all our guests
Mix it
moving
up.
forward. Being kind of our first episode of 2025, we kind of just will take a few moments to kind of share with everybody not just how we got here, but also what you can expect from podcasts moving forward here in the National MI Mortgage Mix. So, Cheri, why don't you kick us off and just, tell us a little bit about what drove you to the mortgage industry? How did you fall into this business, as people like to say, because we all fell into it somehow, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's absolutely crazy. I have a funny story. I went to school for sports medicine, and in my junior year, I saw a really violent fight. And I passed out for 45 minutes. I found out I have vasovagal syndrome where my blood pressure drops to I'm like dead. I don't have a blood pressure, and people don't know.
Wow.
Yes. And then I remember waking up to my husband, who I was dating at the time, saying, "I think you better take some finance classes with me." So I think I reconsidered my track right there.
I thought he was going to ask you about more, we need to go buy a house or something, and that got you into this crazy
I wasn't
business.
in the industry yet. No. So I ended up taking finance classes and just kind of redirected me into banking and then I had an opportunity in MI, and it's been a fun ride. I love this industry, the ups and downs, the people, everything about it. But it's not something you woke up and said, when I grow up, this is what I want to be. So just glad to be here, though. But how about you? What's your story?
So, I definitely did not pass out after watching a fight. And so very similar, kind of just fell into it. Like you said, I went to school to study finance, so that I was kind of on the right path there, and was working at a bank that actually the branch manager, after working my way up to become a branch manager after starting as a teller while in college, the branch manager of this small community bank I was working at was also the mortgage loan officer. So I was able to learn from there. And then as things continued to develop, and the branch managers were given more and more things, they said, well, we got to separate this. The managers are going to go crazy if they continue to do mortgages and run a branch at the same time. So they created a mortgage division. They asked me to run that for the state of Florida, where I was in at the time. And I pretty much have stayed on the mortgage side of the business ever since, and got to not just learn so many things, that I've used that in the training side of things, which I do today, and eventually led me to MI. So very similar to what you said, Cheri. I think it's about, there's really no day that's the same. You're always learning in this industry, whether it's, you're learning about other people, you're learning about new things, guidelines change, so you have to stay on top of things. So there's always a learning aspect to our business. And it's something you and I talk about all the time, that, we're very big fans of learning. We're big fans of staying up to date on whatever it is. So, so I think that kind of leads us to where we are going. You and I were talking about that. Why don't you kind of share that with our audience?
I just feel like just the being just drawn to knowledge in our industry, and being drawn to people and all kinds of people. And this is such a great industry that you and I share that. And I think this will kind of lend its way to some very interesting podcasts for us in the future, when we'll be able to kind of mix it up with some other great guests that will join us and talk about different pieces. MI matters, different pieces in our industry, not anything specifically focused. We'll kind of be a little bit all over the place and have a little bit of fun in it too. So
yeah, well, I think that's the main thing, is have some fun and bring our guests a little bit of extra knowledge, another tool in their tool belt, if you will, that they can use out there in conversations, relationships with borrowers, with referral partners, anyone out there that they can do it. Like you said, we're going to look to have some guests that can bring some additional knowledge. Think kind of fun fact about both of us that our audience should know: we are both CMB, certified mortgage bankers, through the MBA. So we may bring some of those education tools to play. Maybe some people from the MBA would love to join us and talk about their education opportunities and offerings that they have. So we may look at that as well. We may just look at dispelling some MI myths. It's amazing how many people still think they need 20% down to qualify or even apply for a mortgage. So I think it's our duty in this industry to continue to educate not just borrowers, but even our realtors, who sometimes are the first people that borrowers speak to make sure they're making sure to educate. It's all about education. I think that's kind of at the core of what we're going to be doing with this podcast.
And we're going to have a whole podcast just on the MI piece of it. Why MI? What does it matter today? And we'll go through all that, the benefits of it for sure.
Yeah.
But I think our audience here, what would you say, is anyone in the mortgage industry, right? Yeah. Anyone that's just looking for knowledge in any facet of this industry.
Yeah. And we're going to try to keep it very, generic, in the sense of we're not going to go specifically into just one aspect of the business. The hope is that we can bring some different aspects and some variety to the overall concept. So that way everybody's getting a little bit extra, a little bit of something from each episode, but also we're learning a little bit about each other's role within the business, so we can all continue to be better moving forward.
Yeah. And we're going to learn a lot. I know that too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so I guess, one final thing today will be kind of a short episode for everybody, and we ask everybody to make sure that you subscribe to our podcast, The Mortgage Mix, National My Mortgage Mix, or just The Mortgage Mix, wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's through Spotify, Apple. A video of this is on YouTube as well. So wherever you go, subscribe so you get updated anytime a new episode comes out. But Cheri, what would you say is your number one goal of this podcast for this coming year?
Oh, I'm so excited for the content, honestly, because we don't have anything specific that we're going down this road. It's really whatever bubbles up and pulls us in that direction. I think just kind of keeping an open mind for it. But for me, I'm excited to do this. This is a little bit outside my comfort zone, and I'm really excited to do it. So it's pushing me in a different realm that I've never really been in before. So I'm excited for that. How about you?
Yeah, I think same thing. I think the opportunity to maybe even bring in some guests that are a little bit outside of the normal realm of who we are speaking to. A lot of times past guests on this podcast have been some of our National My University presenters and others that we work with on a regular basis. And we may still see some of that, but there's going to be others out there that, like you said, are bringing some different aspects to the business. That's what we're going to look forward to. And to your point, anybody we bring in, I know we're both going to be learning. We're going to be the ones asking the questions, but we're going to be learning all at the same time. Yeah. And that's exciting for this coming year.
Well, and that's the thing about this industry is it just doesn't stop. It's just constantly moving, constantly changing, and there's a lot to be updated on. So yeah. It'll be great.
Well, fantastic. Well, I think so, Cheri, I'm excited to see what 2025 holds for the Mortgage Mix podcast, and glad to be side by side with you, and we'll just tell everybody to stay tuned, and we'll have an episode coming to you shortly, and be on the lookout for who will be our first guest as we get the Mortgage Mix and mixing it up with someone here in our first episode in 2025. Until then, Cheri, I guess we'll bid adieu to everybody.
Mixing it up with you.
That's right. All right. We'll talk to you all soon. Take care, everybody.